ta sahur, din 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 dum, din 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 do, liri li la ri la, orcalero orcala, ballerina ballerina ballerina. Brr brr patapim tralalero tralala, brr brr patapim tralalero tralala, brr brr patapim tralalero tralala. Cappuccino assassino, liri li la ri la, baloni luli lolly, tung 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 sahur, ta 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 sahur, din 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 dum.
Low-key, the mind flayer.
Let's add the mind flayer from Stranger Things. It's so big. Trust the process, guys. Outline. More outline at the claw. Color it. Add some background plus details. What do you think? It nearly finished the ghost. Let's add the mind flayer from
That sounds wonderful.
You're gonna love it, Mia. I promise.
The Mind Flayer from Stranger Things is the biggest monster out of the entire show. But how big is he? You can see Mr. Nightmare Fuel towering over trees like me looking down at mozzarella sticks when they get to my table. And that is a terrifying sight to see. But anyway, the Mind Flayer, are you ready? Is a gigantic 600 feet tall.
I'm scared to death.
Which is 183 meters. That is almost the same size as the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington. Look how far up this is. If I saw Friendly over here this far up, I think I'd go Super Saiyan by accident. But not out of anger or courage, but by me actually finding an ethereal way to myself. And people wonder why Will's got PTSD. I'm surprised the boy still functions. After something like this, you'd probably find me as a vegetable with no self-awareness. Also, for the record, weird has happened in Hawkins like 4 times now. How hasn't anyone packed up their f***ing bags and moved out by now? After the events of season 1, I would have already been doom scrolling houses for sale on the other side of the country. But they stayed not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 whole times. If something in Hawkins happens again and they get surprised, I will actually turn into a Demogorgon myself.
Hawkins is in danger.
Oh, you don't say! The Mind Flayer from Stranger Things is the biggest monster out of the entire.
How far away is our house? Yo, Queso's booty milk with the 5 gifted. How far away is our house?
Stop saying 6'7"! It's not freaking funny!
Oh my. Bro, the stream's like empty. I swear, my dino hat is fake. Alright, it's not fake. It's not fake. It's not fake. Alright, it's made by Roblox. Oh, hold up. You're telling me a brain rot god is better. Brain rot gods aren't even good. I swear, didn't know how does that look? Alright, looks like a candy cane. Oh, hold up. You're telling me a brain. Did I open up one of my lucky blocks? My last lucky block? Oh wait, I got that. And I got the lost 25. I just realized you can only get lost 25. Lost 25 is the best thing that you can get from the actual like regular lucky blocks. Did I open up one of my lucky? It didn't get the premium. Oh wait, I got that. I just realized you can only get lost 25. Lost 25 is the best.
Listening to you heart pump out some you so nice. She's so perfect, blah blah blah. Oh how I wish you'll wake up one day. Come to me, confess your love, but be safe. Listening to you heart pump out some you so nice. Listening to you heart pump out some you so nice. She's so perfect, blah blah blah. Oh how I wish you'll wake up one day. Come to me, confess your love, but be safe.
I don't think I care what it costs. I shouldn't have fallen in love
If you're seeing this before 2026, you've
Go. Just go get the ball and put it up.
Sorry.
If you're seeing this before 20,
Go.
At cost?
Go.
At cost?
Mr. Beast.
Go.
if you're seeing this before 2026, you've officially stepped into the secret timeline. Because on December 31st, 2025, this video doesn't just disappear. It gets locked away, sealed like a digital time capsule no one can break into. It won't reopen until December 31st, 2026. And when it comes back, the only proof you were here first will be the likes, the subs, and the comments you leave right now. So hit that like button to mark your entry, subscribe to secure your spot, and drop your name in the comments to etch your legacy into the hidden chapter. Next year, everyone else will be confused, wondering how you managed to see this before the vault closed. But you?
Go. Go. Just go get the ball and put it up.
Mr. Beast, give me some money. Yeah, give me some money. Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, give me some money. Yeah, give me some money. Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, give me some money. Yeah, give me some money. Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, give me some money. Yeah, give me some.
For the next 24 hours, whoever has no replies will win a meow, but you have to be subscribed and I will check. For the next 24 hours, whoever has no replies will win a meow, but you have to be subscribed and I will check. For the next 24 hours, whoever has no replies will win a meow, but you have to be subscribed and I will check. For the next 24 hours,
Playing on iPhone? Now you can play unlocked on PC with Google Play Games.
Picture this. You get a DM late at night that says, "Hi, you don't know me, but I think you might be my brother." And you're about to ignore it like every other weird message you get until they send you a photo that makes your jaw drop. It's them as a kid standing next to someone who looks exactly like your dad, but from 20 years ago. Same face, same body, even the same ugly polo shirt you've seen him wear thousands of times. Sorry, Dad. So you message this person back, trying to figure out the whole situation. But what happens next makes you realize your dad has a lot of explaining to do. So let me break down exactly what happened, because I know right now, this just sounds like an episode straight out of the Mari Show. It all started when I was sitting in bed one night, doing what I do every night, doom scrolling. But then I get a comment on one of my videos that says, "Tyler, this is serious. Check your DMs right now." So I click on their profile, go to messages, and see if they sent me anything. And of course, they did. And the message they sent said, "Hi Tyler, you don't know me, but I think you might be my brother." Now, if you've ever seen literally any of the comments on all my videos, you would know that people just tend to say crazy stuff in there. I've had people DM me asking if I was their long lost cousin, if I went to their high school, if I stole their lunch teen. And I was like, you know, I don't think so, considering the fact that I was 12. So when I saw this message, my first thought was, oh great, another person that thinks we're related because we both probably have brown hair and a horrible side profile. There's a reason I never turn my head in my videos. So I was about to just ignore the message and keep scrolling. But then they sent another message. And this message said, "I know this sounds crazy, but I'm pretty sure we have the same dad." And then Then he sent my dad's full name and date of birth. Although I still didn't believe anything this person was saying, now I was intrigued. Because how does this random person know my dad's full name? That's not information I've ever posted online. I don't go around making videos like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm gonna be revealing my dad's social security number. Like, my dad barely even uses social media. Up until last year, whenever I told him I was watching TikToks, he thought I meant that I was just staring at a clock. This man ain't even an unk, all right? He's grams. So the point is, there's no way this person should know my dad's information unless they knew him personally, and keep that in mind for the rest of the video. So now, I'm just sitting there looking at my phone like, what is going on? My first instinct was to think that this was just some elaborate prank. Maybe one of my friends put someone up to this as a joke, but that couldn't have been the truth because I don't have friends. So I decided to do what any rational person would do in this situation. I started stalking their page. And when I say stalking, I went full FBI mode. I'm zooming in on every photo, dissecting every caption, checking who they follow, looking at their tagged photos. I'm doing everything. And at first, their page seemed pretty normal. Just a bunch of random photos of food, sunset pictures, which, by the way, if there's a cool sunset outside, let me tell you guys, no one cares. We don't want to see 500 pictures on your story, okay? We go outside, we know there's a cool sunset. Okay, we don't all go outside, but most of us know there's a cool sunset. Anyways, their profile didn't have anything that screamed, I'm a scammer trying to ruin your life. But then they sent me another message. And this message had a photo attached to it. And when I opened that photo, my jaw literally dropped. Like I physically felt my mouth open. Pause. Because the photo they sent me was a picture of a kid, probably 4 or 5 years old, standing next to a man. But somehow, that man looked exactly like my dad. Not, oh, they have similar features, maybe they're 16th cousins. No, this was my dad from 20 years ago. I knew it. And the kid was standing there in this photo with a huge grin on his face, holding my dad's hand. I sat there staring at the photo for what felt like an hour. I was zooming in on every single detail. The background, the clothes, the way my dad was standing. I was examining the photo like I was trying to find Waldo. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized this was a real photo of my dad and this kid. And the reason I knew for sure was because of the shirt he was wearing in the photo. My dad would always wear these specific polo shirts back in the day. So I pulled out an old photo of my dad I had and compared it, and what would you know? It was the exact same shirt. So now I'm thinking, okay, either this is the most elaborate Photoshop job in my life, which still doesn't explain the shirt, or I might actually be related to this person. And let me tell you, the thought of my dad having a secret kid was terrifying to me because my dad is the most straightforward, honest person I know. Like, he's the type of guy that will say you have something in your teeth even when you don't want him to say it. He's basically a Boy Scout in dad form. As far as I know, this man has never told a lie in his life. One time when I was a kid, I lost a tooth, put it under my pillow, waiting for the tooth fairy to come, but when I woke up, there was no money. So I asked my dad why the tooth fairy didn't come last night, and he said, tooth fairy had a little too much to drink last night, son. He was talking about himself. He was the tooth fairy. I was 6 years old. So the idea that he would hide something like having a whole nother child from me, that just didn't seem possible. And if this was true, it brought so many more questions. Like, does my mom know about this secret child? Okay, I guess that's the only other question it would have brought. But at the same time, this photo was right in front of me, and it looked way too real to be fake. Matter of fact, it couldn't have been fake. I knew that for sure. So I did what any person in my situation would do. I didn't tell my dad, not yet at least, because if this person was telling the truth, this meant my dad was hiding this from me my whole life. And I wanted to hear their whole side of the story before asking my dad about it. Plus, I didn't want to accuse my dad of something serious without being 100% sure about it. Because imagine if I just went up to him and was like, hey dad, quick question. Some random person on the internet with 4 followers said that you have a secret kid. You know anything about that? He would probably just respond by saying that, no, he doesn't have a secret kid, but he also shouldn't have had me either. Just kidding, he wouldn't say that, I hope. So I responded to this person's messages and asked them how they got that photo. They told me they found it in an old box of their mom's stuff. He said his mom kept it hidden for years and they only found it because they were cleaning out their attic and moving. Then he told me that his mom dated my dad years before I was born. And he didn't know who his father was growing up apparently, but he only found out about it because of these pictures. I guess his mom always wanted to keep him away from his real dad for some reason. And honestly, the way he explained it seemed really believable. It wasn't some crazy dramatic story. It was just, your dad dated my mom, they broke up, and she was pregnant but didn't want to tell him. Which, unfortunately, this is something that happens in real life. I've seen enough episodes of The Mari Show to know this happens. But then things started getting even weirder because the more we talked, the more personal details he was sharing about my dad. He mentioned that his mom told him where my dad worked 20 years ago, which was a small company that doesn't even exist anymore. But somehow, he knew it. He knew the car my dad used to drive. And here's the thing, this is all pre-internet stuff that I only knew because my dad told me about it. So there's literally no way this person could have just Googled it. Their mom definitely had to actually know my dad, or at least that's what I thought at the time. And this is what made this whole thing so convincing, because they weren't just saying generic stuff like, oh yeah, I know your dad is a nice guy. No, they were giving me specific details only someone who personally knew my dad would know. Unless this was literally the CIA agent that's in my phone right now, which I know you're watching. Don't think I forgot about you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I know you're sitting in a dark room right now, watching me through my camera lens. Just know, I'm watching you right back, buddy. So now I'm starting to think I might have to consider the fact that this is real. Maybe my dad actually does have a secret kid. And I'm not gonna lie, the thought of this terrified me because my dad is in a loving relationship with my mom, and this could ruin everything. If this was true, what else was my dad hiding? The more we messaged back and forth, the more I started to believe them. They told me about how their mom had always been secretive of their dad's identity, how he would ask about him growing up, but his mom would just change the subject. And honestly, he sounded like he was being genuine. He wasn't being dramatic or over the top about it. No, it just sounded like this dude wanted to know his real dad. And I started to feel bad for them because if what they were saying was true, then they spent their whole childhood not knowing who their dad was. And that's rough. Although LeBron didn't know his dad growing up, so maybe there are some benefits to it. After a few days of messaging my possible brother, I asked if he wanted to meet in person. They told me pretty quickly that they didn't live too far from me. And honestly, I was nervous to do this because meeting a potential sibling for the first time is scary enough. But meeting them under these circumstances, that's a whole different level of anxiety. Like, what do you even wear to that? My wolf tracksuit? I'm wearing the pants to that outfit right now, actually. You just can't tell. Matter of fact, you have no idea what's below the camera right now. Like, I'm actually getting a foot massage right now. You just can't see it. No, I'm not. That was a lie. But if anyone wants to give me one, okay, back to the video. So I was super scared to meet up with them, but I also knew if I wanted to get to the bottom of this, I had to do it. So I agreed. We decided to meet up at a coffee shop, which I figured would be a safe space in public, just in case. If things got weird, I could leave. Or say I got explosive diarrhea from the coffee, which actually does happen. The day of the meetup, I was a nervous wreck.
We've got Mr. Stompin himself, the guy who calls himself the king of PvPs. The Frost community is blowing up fast, and you can still claim your OG ticket before we hit 1 million, so hit follow and lock yourself in. Now let's talk about Stompin. Lately, PvP has been taking over the community, and Stompin took full advantage of that. He blew up making PvP videos just like this, and he even live streams his so-called legit PvPs. Then a fan DM'd me saying, Stompin scammed me out of my dragons and I got proof. So I took a minute to review the clip, and what we found is crazy. He was doing a trading stream, casually talking with the victim. They discuss the trade, they both agree, and then Stompin takes the dragon and just walks straight to his base like it's a donation. No turning back, no hesitation, meaning the victim got blocked. And Stompin thinks he's smooth like Michael Jackson.
Wait, Rainbow, Los Bros for the giveaway. Everyone spam W in the chat.
Trying to play it off by saying he's doing a Los Bros giveaway. Wild. But if you don't want to fall for scams, make sure you check out blocksloot.gg for fast, trusted, reliable brain rots. This is where I get mine. Use code FROST for a clean discount. Make sure you spread awareness. Repost this. Share the live with your friends. And go comment "Caught by Frost" under his posts so nobody else gets scammed. And don't forget to claim your OG ticket before we hit 1 million followers. Exposing scammers.
If everything they were saying was true, this would be a life-altering day. And I didn't know if I was emotionally ready for that. Like, you're talking to a guy who cried during the Boss Baby movie, so I couldn't handle this. And like, also, if they were telling the truth, that would have meant that they were technically my brother. And I already got about 500 siblings in the comment sections of my videos, so I wouldn't have been surprised if I had another one. I got in my car, hands shaking, and drove to the coffee shop. When I finally walked in, he was already sitting there. The moment I saw him, I tried to look for any resemblance. Do they have my dad's nose, his smile, his receding hairline, his weirdly specific way of sneezing that sounds like a car horn? But honestly, I couldn't tell. They just looked like a normal person. Definitely could have been related, but I didn't know for sure. So I walked over, introduced myself to them, and sat down. But right away, when we started talking, something felt off. They were acting really nervous, like way more nervous than I was. And I'm the type of guy who gets scared ordering food at McDonald's because I think the worker's gonna roast me for stuttering. But I get it. This was a nerve-wracking situation for the both of us, so that's why I thought he was nervous in the first place. I was wrong though, because we started talking and they were giving me all these details about their life, about their mom, about how they found out about my dad. But the whole time, I just had this feeling in my gut like something was wrong. Because if you just found out you had a sibling, wouldn't you be asking a million questions about our dad, our family, and what he's like now? But they weren't doing any of that. The only time we really even talked about my dad was when I asked questions. They seemed to be more interested in me. So since this whole situation felt strange, I decided to test them. I pulled out my phone and said, hey, let's FaceTime my dad. I want to see his reaction when he looks at your face and hears your name. But the moment I said that, their face went pale. They looked like they'd just been told the unfortunate unfortunate news that Jojo Siwa is not real. Then he starts stuttering, saying stuff like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think he'd want to meet me. But I wasn't having it. I was like, no, if you're really my sibling, my dad will want to talk to you. Trust me. So I pulled up my dad's contact and hit the FaceTime button before they could say anything further. My dad answered after a few rings, and when his face popped up on the screen, I watched this person's reaction very carefully. Then I said to my dad, hey dad, this is my friend, and then I said their name. But this is where things got super confusing, because the moment I told my dad this person's name, my dad's face changed. The reaction on his face wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is my secret kid that I've been trying to hide from the whole world. It was more of a confused look. So now I had a confused look on my face too. My dad definitely seemed to recognize that name somehow, but he didn't mention it. We talked for like 45 seconds, and then I hung up the phone and said to this person, that was an interesting reaction from our dad, huh? He just agreed and went, yeah, he probably just doesn't want to deal with this right now. So since FaceTiming my dad just confused me even more, there was only one thing left to do to prove once and for all if this person was my sibling or not. So I said to them, you know what would be a great idea? Let's get a DNA test. I'll even pay for it. But to my surprise, they agreed. Like, without even breaking a sweat. They were just like, yeah, that's a great idea. Which threw me off, because why would someone who's lying agree to a DNA test? That doesn't make any sense. And between this and the fact that they literally had a picture with my dad at a young age and everything else he knew about him, I was starting to think, oh my goodness, this person is my brother. Which was devastating because bro was super handsome, so he definitely got the good genes if this was true. But there was just too many things adding up at this point for him to be lying. We ordered the DNA test right there in the coffee shop. One for me, one for him. After doing this, the coffee really actually was starting to hit my stomach, and I could feel that explosive diarrhea coming. So we both left.